ASMR. Benji. No, I'm joking. This is a secret episode. Welcome to the secret episode, the uncut, behind-the-scenes version of Thames FC, the popular Football Manager 2018 series on drbenjis.com/channel. youtube.com/drbenji. Right then, also, actually, I want to say, if you want to see one of the worst websites ever, drbenji.com. It's a thing. Right then, folks, let's talk through a few bits and pieces. We last played Ramsgate. You've just watched that episode, hopefully, in which we lost to Red Hill, beat Ramsgate, and our form recently has been very iffy. At the start of the season, we were pretty good, pretty solid, and then more recently, we've had draws, a few defeats in there as well, and 3 defeats in the last 5. Not particularly good. So hopefully, we can beat Ashford in this particular game. Ashford, I assume it's probably better said, and we'll see how we get on. As it's behind the scenes, let's show you a few bits and pieces. We are £230,000 worth in debt. Bear in mind, some of this stuff will be mentioned in the next episode because that's just what happens, I think. So not ideal. Board confidence and things like that. Untouchable. Our league form is so good this year. The board are absolutely loving it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they've already offered me a new contract, which is very good news. If I take a look here, you'll see 21. So yeah, next year. And that's already been sorted. Managing finances at 1%, which is not particularly good. And overall, we're not particularly good either. I can't get a coaching course because they can't afford it. So lots of things to be disappointed about, really. We sit then 4 points off the top of the table. Horsham on 76, we're on 72. Red Hill in between us, and it's closing up. This game here that we're about to play could make things even closer. Ashford there, then down in the 13th position. Beat them, and we stay in the hunt for the title, which is obviously going to be the goal for us this season. We'll do a week in the life of Thames manager then. We'll see what happens throughout it, as well as chatting away. I should ask for Thames-related questions when we do these sorts of episodes. But I don't really know, so I don't really have any questions to hand right now, so that's a shame. So, great idea, Ben, for the future, perhaps. But thank you if you clicked the first episode of this. Maybe this is your first time in the secret episodes, ASMR Benji. But for those that clicked the last one, I think we had sort of 6,000 people watch a hidden episode, which I thought was remarkable. My game is frozen right now. This is one of the joys of playing this save, that it sometimes just decides, no, not going to work, how much you want me to. So we're just sort of sitting here waiting for it to... There we go. Happy days. Just having so many leagues loaded. The more we go up, we can eventually start to get rid of some of the lower divisions, which is something we'll definitely do. It's something I've always done. It just makes sense to get rid of them as you progress up, because there's so many... So I guess I could show you, actually. If we go on to add and remove leagues in England, while that looks like, oh, there's not too many there, there's in fact loads hidden away within sort of the English counties Division 1. If I click that, what happens? I assume nothing happens. Hopefully nothing happens. But it's got... This is not a good example. Essentially, there are loads of leagues hidden in these latter tiers. I'm not going to mess about with it. We could be here all day. So, league-wise, it's going pretty well. Wish we'd had a cup run. I said it in one of the earlier episodes at the start of this season. I wish we'd gone on a cup run in one of the competitions, but we either faced teams that were too good for us or we bottled it, essentially, which is never good news. You'll notice, by the way, there'll be loads... I imagine we'll be updated on loads of players during this little session, this little week. Because as I mentioned in the last secret episode, we scout so many different players that I'm inundated often with teams going for offers for different players we're very often not actually going for. Callum Ferguson, I think at one point we did look at, but that is something that just continually happens. Speaking of training, by the way, I can't afford better. Like, training's a real situation for me. There's 10 players unhappy with it. There's not a lot I can do. A lot of these players... Well, actually, no, when you look at it, actually, it's a mix of first-teamers and reserve players, and there's not that much I can really do with it. Like, I don't have the ability to buy better coaching. Like, they're annoyed at the standard and stuff, but you can't get better coaches than this. I bring you to the under-21s, of course. We've just had a regen day, so if you sort this by age, you can see there's a couple of good ones in there. Delbert Phillip, has he just signed? No, he's been there a little while, and actually he's growing a little bit. I don't look at some of these kids often enough, really, the 16-year-olds especially. We've got here Reece Grace as well. He might end up being not too bad, but at 16, you probably don't take the gamble on him yet. I mentioned in the episode Liam Kinnear and Gabriel Pesks. I don't know how you say it. They're our better ones this year. The rest of them are remotely average. Who knows? In a future life, they might end up being quite good. In terms of ability, though, there's a few kids coming through. Barry Higgins is out on a loan spell. He's probably never going to really come up to anything. Harry Johnson is there as well. I mean, you look at passing, marking, tackling, all the things you want in a ball-winning midfielder. He's not particularly good at any of them at 17 years of age. What I maybe should have done with some of these players is change them and train them to play slightly different roles. But again, This is quite a common theme. Physically pretty good. Good jumping reach, 6'2", wide target man. Not good at dribbling, not good at crossing, not very good finishing. Passing's not very good. Work rate's not very good. So there's not a lot. It's just 5-star. There's not a lot you can do with him. Like, we've got loads of Tommy Sullivans, essentially, that are just in this sort of limbo mode between being playable and having the ability to grow, and he's just not there. The example of someone that can do that is probably maybe someone like John Clark, who at some point will probably feature for me, maybe next year, as early as that. And if we look at a few others, the main guy is probably Liam Danan, who is actually becoming quite well-rounded. I just think if all of these things go up by 1s and 2s, then we're looking at a really good player. And he's with me till next year. 4-star, did I say 4-star player there for him? I mean, blimey, he's growing at a rapid rate then. I'm going to check that again. 4-star player, Liam Danan, apparently. Now, is that based on just youth players? Is that based on just him? Let's take a look at this here then. Current ability, 4-star player. So should we be playing Liam Danan in like every game from now on? Has he grown that much? I mean, I guess he must have done. He was a 2-star player that has rapidly gone up. His mentals are very good. But because he's so young, there's this feeling that I don't want to play him. I think you look at those that you've got to play. It's just not very quick. I think that shouldn't really be held against him. And these could end up being sort of 14s, 15s if he really trains at it. His determination is decent. His work rate's good. So you never know. This episode's going to be really long if I carry on in this vein. We're not even at the game yet. So, but again, you've come for sort of a little bit more of an in-depth behind-the-scenes look, right? So it's fine, Ben. Keep doing this. 20 players available. I add every single player that I can to the shortlist, like these future 5-star players. If at some point we get a little bit of money and we can maybe start buying players, these are the guys we want to be picking up. So I want as many as I can on the shortlist. So generally I'll go through and just do this for ages as a shortlist, get a scout report, and see who comes through, because you don't want to miss out on anyone. And as I said in the last one of these, you're constantly trying to plan for the future. Daniel Gray wants to leave. This is the defender, Daniel Gray, right? Yeah. If it was the attacking one, I'd be gutted. We're going to decline that. I've actually given the other Daniel Gray a contract, and Sam Barker wants to know why he's not playing. The other Daniel Gray is why he's not playing. He's not happy. He doesn't think that Daniel Gray's in good form, which I can kind of agree with. Daniel Gray's been in different form because the team's been in different form, really. As we get ever closer, I don't know why it says mid-X. Is there a reason for that? Middlesex? Like, what's... I don't know, I'm sure there's a reason. Again, you can see lots of players being suggested. Glenn Johnson, goalkeeper, probably would never ever go for. So we'll avoid that. As we get closer to game day, actually a few people have been asking like what is happening in other leagues. I'll give you a quick overview now for those that are interested. I mean, you've come for secret information. Let's give you some secret information. I'm trying to find the quickest way to get to the Premier League without having to type it in. Here we are. Premier League, 4 stars. United top it. City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham. As to be expected. Promotions for Norwich in there. Any other promotions that are obvious to me? Hull, I guess, are back up there. Championship, very, very quickly. Wolves, Huddersfield, Middlesbrough. Most of the teams you'd probably expect. And then finally, League One. Anyone got relegated? That's a bit of a surprise. Not that I can see. Lincoln up in League One, they're doing pretty well. Right, continuing forward. Eventually, we'll get some players. I was going to show you... Do I show you that now? Or do I show you that next time we do one of these? I guess I'll show you now. A lot of people ask about loan players. And say, why don't you go for loan players? I guess the reason we don't go for loan players, generally speaking, if we clear this quickly, they might have changed now. I've not looked for a little while. But most of the teams in which we can get loan players from aren't particularly good. And then I see the top team is Leyton Orient. Now, if he can be loaned in, so again, he's not that much better than what we've got. I mean, yes, he's got sort of decent mentals, decent physicals, but his defensive technicals not particularly good. But overall, I mean, this is a general vibe for what we're getting. Have Leyton Orient been relegated again or something? They're in the Vanarama National League, so no, maybe. But again, they're obviously they're worse players. They're not particularly good. There's no real reason to bring them in. In terms of like key attributes, they don't offer what I'm looking for. Although getting someone called Federico Rodriguez would be exciting. But again, he's not as good as Daniel Gray, so I wouldn't go for him. And he's one of the better loan players available to us. Even if you look at like the unsure, sure, like interested sort of situation. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. You can never get good players in, so I just ignore it. Right, let's continue forward a little bit more. Again, lots of offers coming. That is probably what a lot of like the time continuing takes, is when it's just feeding me these offers over and over again. I'm sure I said in the next episode what was going to be the next episode. I can't remember. We'll have a look though after this game to see what tomorrow's episode is going to be. By all means, like this video. Loads of people, I think we had like 500 likes on this video with 0 dislikes. when I uploaded it last. So if you're part of those people, thank you so much. I don't know why you'd come and watch more if you're just gonna dislike it, but I'm sure there's people out there, aren't there? There's fun people. We're gonna set the record for the record number of wins. Apparently, 21. Apparently is the record. Also, we're level right now, as well as the points haul. Actually, what did we get last year? Let's do a quick comparison before we go into this game. Let's see then. So again, behind the scenes. So this year, 72 points. Last year, 83 points. Okay, so we're still a little way off, but we've certainly got the games to do it. And I think we talked about it last season, that you need those 80. You need to be aiming for that 80 mark. And we're currently on 72. So 85, it's probably like 4 or 5 wins, right, to be in the playoffs for sure. I'm not sure how many need to win the title traditionally, but I would assume it's probably around that 90 mark, 90 something. Which, again, still possible. Whether we can do it or not, time will tell. In fact, I'm going to take a look, actually, what's been required in previous years to win the league. Let's take a look here. So last year it was 93, very close though, 92 with Red Hill. Before that, 104. So you might need 100 points to win this league, which is a lot to ask. Okay, team-wise, we should be okay. Coleman Carr is back in the side. He had a little injury. Remember, he got on at the end of last episode. He's going to have to play again. We don't really have any other choices. We could play John Clark there. He's left-footed. He's not too bad, but I don't think I'm going to risk him at left-back. Excuse me, in this particular game. Dominic Taylor's going to sit out. Liam Danan, apparently a 4-star player now. We're going to get... do you know what? I'm just interested. How many hours have we got so far? People might be interested in this sort of thing. Oh, by the way, in-game editor allowed? No. In-game editor used? No. Just people are always intrigued by that sort of thing. Let's take a look then. Turning your underwear inside out saves on time. 3 days, 18 hours for 3 seasons. It's quite a lot. Scouting is mainly what's used for those, I tend to see. I'll just submit the team. Was that a good idea? I'm not sure. Hopefully it was a good idea. This is the team we would have gone with anyway. Emery in goal, Campbell, Comfrey, Johnson, Coleman Carr, O'Sullivan, Squires, Oti, Gray, Wright, Danan. Against this side then, they've got, who is this? Tom Madden up front. Looks pretty good, either footed as well. Decent. Problematic, I dare say. But I guess we'll see. We could drop out of the playoffs here, so I expect nothing less than a win. They don't seem particularly bothered, do they? We'll do another team talk. Do we go for the calm approach or the passionate approach? There's a lot more to come from you, and I believe you've got what it takes. And we had Stephen Wright and George O'Sullivan look a little bit interested, so that's nice. Well, thank you, boys. Thank you for taking part. Right, then, how are we going to do? That's the big question. Good touch from them early on. Ashford, as we said, mid-table size, should be a team that we fare pretty well against, ordinarily away from home, though. I'm interested, actually, if our away form is better or worse than our home form. I'm just going to move the league table, if you don't mind, viewers. I'm going to minimise it, actually, because we can look at it later on. Ball put away to the back post, dangerous, knocked down, and Helm gets the goal. John Helm, and it's 1-0 to Ashford, and our poor run recently is continuing. I'm debating at this point, going for a system change for the final so many games, but I don't want to change something and then lose dramatically. I'm not going to react too quickly. We're 10 minutes into this game. We've certainly got enough time to get back into it. Let's just hope we have some big performances from our midfielders and forward men. Liam Danan, it kind of rests on him a little bit now. We've got Frankie Sorr on the bench, very fast, so at some point we might see him. And since the goal, it's been pretty actionless, it's fair to say. And this will drop us down to 5th position. This is what we're talking about. This is the problems that are arising right now as we get ever closer to half-time. There's been nothing at all to speak of. They've had one guy play pretty well with his goal, which suggests to me the game's pretty open. There's still lots to be done in this game. Coleman Carr is obviously a bit of an issue. I'm going to say unlucky, boys, it hasn't gone right. They seem motivated by that. I actually am going to bring John Clark in to play at the back. Yeah, he's fitter. I think it might make the smallest bit of difference. The question is, do we go... I'm thinking we actually just go more attacking in this sort of game. We try and give more support to Daniel Gray. We get OT more involved. And do we change him up to a shuttler? We've kind of got 2 players doing that if we do it. Oh, blimey. Yeah, we are going to change it up. I'm going to try and put a bit more pressure on their back line. We're going to go attacking as well. I might actually have both wingers just pushing on. We've got our defenders playing relatively defensive anyway. I'm going to try and force the issue. We're going to play slightly more direct as well. We'll be playing around with that. We'll be playing mixed, short and more direct, but we're going to go more direct. And just see then if the wingers can get slightly more involved. The question is, do we want to exploit them to the max? I guess we'll see. We'll give it sort of 15, 20 minutes and we'll see if anything changes. We need better performances out of our wide players though. OT's having a relatively good game. compared to Stephen Wright, as they've got a throw in. I mean, another goal for them will put the nail maybe in the Thames coffin as, well, I don't want to say it's poor goalkeeping, but it's pretty poor goalkeeping, and it's put them 2-0 up. And at this point, I think we are going to have to start exploiting the flanks a little more and see if anything comes from it. Really frustrating game, and the fact this puts us in 5th is just a frustrating... here we go. Okay, well, that was, again, a decent chance. This is the sort of thing now, the run is getting so bad, we're dropping out of the top 5. It's so tight, though. Every point gained is so important right now. So even a draw here, and you're not looking at it quite so negatively. Ball's played forward. That's a penalty, is it? Fantastic. What a game this is, viewers. Dominic Taylor's going to come on for Danan, who's had a poor game. 4-star player, and that commits me to start him. I now regret it. I wish we'd played Taylor from the start. Lee, I mean, it's not Lee, it's just regular Lee, I assume. What's Lee's first name? But he's got a boring first name. What is it? I want to see it. What is it? Show me it. We'll never know. It's Lee something. It's James Lee. Not as good as our Lee. It's going to have to be quite the turnaround. 15 minutes to go. Taylor on. I mean, if he scores immediately, that would have kind of sucked a little bit. Needle with the save. 15 minutes left. We're 3-0 down. We've created little to nothing. Confrey heads it out to OT. Good defensive header. And we've given it away. Well done us. Congrats, everyone. Should we have got more counter-attacking from the off? I think our management in these away games recently has been pretty poor. We don't score like that many goals compared to some of our rivals. Corinthian Casuals, Cray. I mean, our defensive attributes are certainly strong, but we're not scoring enough goals at the moment. And I sort of touched on that at the start of the season. Wright goes through, drags it wide. There's part of me that wonders if we'd have played Frankie Sawyer in every game, how would he have done? But I wasn't going to take that risk after Taylor's decent season. There was no need to drop him, and he did score goals for me this year. So anyway, we've got to get in the playoffs at some point this year, surely, right? And I'm going to try and show you as many games as possible from now to the end of the season. Obviously, you're seeing this one. Next episode will be games like, how many have we played here? There's action going on, but I feel like this game's a little bit done now. So 41 or 42 probably, and then the final 3, something like that. Because it's getting hot in here. I've just realised it might be a case. And actually, no, it should be fine. I'm thinking by the end of the week it should be fine. I'm just planning it in my head of what's going to come, but no, it should be okay. Ball played in. We're applying some pressure, like late doors. It's all a bit worthless though, as we've conceded 3 goals, which is not very good ever under any circumstances. 5 seconds left, so we did a lot of chat, but we certainly didn't win. And I was hoping our hidden record was going to be better than our regular record, but no, it's not to be. We actually won a game last episode, so disappointing. Not happy with the performance, and there we have it. Then Ashford beat us comfortably as well and put us out of the playoffs. So the hidden episode is the bottle job episode for now. By the way, they are called Eptra, like episode but extra. They're a combination of the words. People were confused about that last time. Anyway, this video's gone on for quite a long time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the little behind the scenes chatter, and I've given you a few more thoughts on things as we progress through. I think people think that he just clicks continues and plays games, but actually I try and do as much as possible behind the scenes. We're just limited at the moment through like budget and stuff, which is not particularly fun. Better in the second half, didn't get the result required though, and they scored a couple of goals as well, so it went from bad to worse really. Penalty conceded too. So let's see then, what are we going to be looking at for next episode? I think we talked about it actually. I think Three Bridges and Whiteleaf. And then I might play Met Police and Hastings. We'll see what things are like, and then Faversham and Canterbury. I mentioned this before, but all the teams there, I'm pretty sure every single team is below us. So in theory, I think Met Police are the best team we face. We should have a relatively easy run in. I guess time will tell though, as we've got Merstham, I learnt it. Merstham left. So I'll see you for Three Bridges and Whiteleaf tomorrow. Again, if you enjoyed this video, do drop a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll have with care for it's been until next time. Goodbye, Thameseritis. That sounds like a disease. It probably is a disease.